The New Mexico sun hung heavy over the broken mesa, turning the air thick and still. Dust clung to everything: fence posts, leather boots, the brim of a worn hat. The only sound for miles was the slow creak of a windmill that hadn't turned properly in years. Cole Mercer stood at the edge of his land, eyes scanning the horizon like a man expecting trouble. 38 years old, shoulders worn by work and worry, he looked older than his age. This ranch had once been something. Cattle filled the pastures. Laughter echoed from the house. Now it was mostly silence and debt. Behind him, the ranch house door opened with a tired groan. Eliza stepped out, holding a folded letter in her hand. Her face was calm, but her eyes weren't. They never were anymore. "They won't wait," she said softly. "Bank gave us 30 days. After that, it's gone." Cole didn't turn around. He already knew. He'd known the moment the cattle prices fell and the drought refused to break. He spat into the dirt and watched it disappear. "This land's been in my family 3 generations," he said. "I won't hand it over like it means nothing." Eliza walked closer, stopping beside him. The wind lifted her hair, dusting it with sand. "Pride won't save it, Cole." He finally looked at her then. The woman he'd married wasn't weak, but hardship had carved lines into her face the way the desert carved stone. They had survived winters, sickness, and hunger. But this felt different. A low rumble cut through the air. Cole stiffened. A wagon appeared on the far trail, slow and heavy. Not a ranch wagon, too clean, too deliberate. Eliza followed his gaze. "You expecting someone?" Cole shook his head. "No." The wagon rolled closer until it stopped near the fence. A well-dressed man climbed down, boots untouched by dust, hat expensive enough to buy half the county. He smiled like someone used to hearing yes. "Cole Mercer," the man called out. "Name's Harold Kane. I represent interests that want your land." Cole rested his hand on the fence post. "Tell your interests to ride on." Kane's smile thinned. "You're behind on payments. We can do this easy or hard." Eliza's fingers tightened around the letter. Kane leaned closer, lowering his voice. "There are men willing to make sure you don't get another chance." The windmill creaked again. Cole met Kane's eyes, steady and unblinking. "This land ain't for sale." Kane straightened, tipping his hat. "Then this isn't over." The wagon turned away, leaving a long trail of dust behind it. Eliza exhaled slowly. "Cole, they'll come back." Cole watched the dust settle. Somewhere deep inside, a familiar weight returned, the kind that came before bloodshed. "Let them," he said. "I'm ready." The dust from Kane's wagon hadn't even settled when the first bad sign came. That night, the wind changed. Cole lay awake on the narrow bed, staring at the dark ceiling, listening to the house breathe the way old houses do, soft pops of wood, the sigh of walls that had seen too much. Eliza slept beside him, but her rest was light. He could tell by the way her fingers twitched every time a sound drifted in from outside. Near midnight, a horse whinnied. Cole sat up instantly. It wasn't one of theirs. He slid from the bed without a word, pulling on his boots and reaching for the rifle mounted above the door. The metal felt cold, familiar. Eliza's eyes opened. "Cole?" "Stay," he whispered. He stepped onto the porch, moonlight washing the yard in pale silver. The corral gate swung slightly, creaking as if pushed by an unseen hand. One of the fence rails lay broken on the ground. This wasn't accident. It was a message. At dawn, they found the truth. One of their calves lay dead near the water trough, throat cut clean. No tracks leading away. Whoever did it knew how to cover their trail. Eliza turned away, hand over her mouth. Cole crouched beside the animal, jaw tight. He'd seen this before, back when land wars were settled with fear instead of papers. "They're testing us," he said. By noon, word had spread. Neighbors rode in, men with lined faces and quiet eyes. Old ranchers who understood what Kane represented. "They don't want your cattle," one of them said. "They want you gone." As the men talked, a rider appeared on the far ridge, then another, and another. 3 figures, watching, waiting. Cole felt Eliza's hand slip into his. Her grip was firm, but he felt the tremble beneath it. "You don't have to do this alone," she said. Cole looked at her, really looked, dust on her dress, fear in her eyes, love behind it. "I know," he said softly. That evening, as the sun bled red across the sky, the riders finally moved. They came fast. Gunfire ripped through the quiet, splintering the corral fence. Horses screamed. Cole shoved Eliza toward the house. "Inside, now!" He raised his rifle and fired. The first rider fell hard, dust exploding around him. But there were more coming, and this time they weren't here to warn. Gunfire tore the night apart. Bullets ripped through the corral boards, wood exploding into splinters. Cole dropped to one knee behind the water trough, chambering another round with practiced speed. The smell of gunpowder mixed with dust and fear, thick enough to taste. "Move left," a voice shouted from the dark. They weren't amateurs. Cole fired again. Another rider pitched forward, crashing into the dirt, but the others kept coming, circling like wolves. Hooves thundered, shadows twisted in the moonlight. Inside the house, Eliza pressed her back against the door, heart hammering so loud she was sure the men outside could hear it. She grabbed the old shotgun from above the fireplace, the one she'd never wanted to use. Her hands shook, but she forced them steady. A window shattered. She screamed and fired. The blast lit the room in white fire. A body fell outside the frame, heavy and final. Outside, Cole heard the shot and felt something break loose inside his chest. Not fear, not pride, but understanding. There was no protecting her from this anymore. She was already in it. A rider rushed him from the right. Cole spun, too slow. The impact knocked him backward. He hit the ground hard, air bursting from his lungs. The man dismounted, raising his rifle for a finishing shot. A second gunshot cracked. The rider collapsed. Eliza stood on the porch, shotgun smoking, eyes wide but unflinching. "Get up!" she shouted. Cole didn't argue. They fell back toward the house together, firing, reloading, moving as one. Years of shared silence, shared struggle, now turned into something sharp and deadly. Then the shooting stopped. Dust settled. 2 riders lay dead. 1 horse ran loose into the dark. But 1 man still stood. He stepped forward slowly, clapping once. "Well done," Harold Kane said, emerging from the shadows. His coat was dusty now. His smile was gone. "You've made your point," Kane continued, "but this ends tonight." Cole raised his rifle, sight locked on Kane's chest. "So does this," Cole said. Kane laughed softly. "You won't pull that trigger, not yet." From behind Kane, more riders appeared, 5 this time, armed, calm. Eliza felt Cole's arm brush against hers. No escape, no help coming. Kane tipped his hat. "Tomorrow I own this land, and you'll be nothing but a story no one tells anymore." Cole tightened his grip. If this was the end, it wouldn't be quiet. The night held its breath. 5 riders stood behind Harold Kane, rifles ready, faces hidden beneath low hats. The moon hung pale and cold, watching like a silent judge. Dust drifted through the yard, settling on the bodies that already lay still. Cole's finger rested on the trigger. Eliza's hand slipped into his. For a moment everything slowed. Not fear, not anger, just clarity. Cole lowered his rifle. Kane smiled. Smart choice. That smile vanished an instant later. Cole moved first, fast, violent. He drove his shoulder into Kane, knocking him backward into the dirt. The gunfire exploded all at once. Bullets tore through the night, chewing up wood and earth. Eliza ran, not away, toward the barn. She dove inside, grabbed the oil lantern hanging by the stall, and hurled it into the stacked hay as a bullet cracked past her ear. Flames bloomed instantly, climbing fast, wild and hungry. "Fire!" someone shouted. Panic broke their line. Cole fought like a man with nothing left to lose. He fired, reloaded, fired again. One rider fell screaming, another dropped silent. Horses reared, terror replacing discipline. The barn roared behind them, lighting the land in burning orange. Kane tried to crawl away. Cole caught him by the collar and dragged him across the dirt. "You wanted this land," Cole said, voice low and steady. "Now look at it." Kane coughed, eyes wide, face streaked with ash. "You can't win. Even if you kill me." Cole slammed him into the ground. "I already have." Sheriff wagons appeared on the ridge, lanterns swinging, guns raised. Someone had finally talked, or maybe they'd just waited long enough. The remaining riders fled. Kane was left in the dirt, wrists bound, staring at the flames that reflected his own greed. As dawn broke, smoke drifted across the ranch. The barn was gone, the land was scarred, but it was still theirs. Eliza stood beside Cole, exhausted, soot-streaked, alive. She leaned into him, and this time he didn't try to stand alone. "We'll rebuild," she said. Cole nodded, eyes on the horizon where the sun rose slow and sure. "Yeah," he said, "we will." The windmill creaked again, but this time it turned.